I think it's interesting what you said in terms of like actually like talking to people and getting them to actually share their stories, because like I suffered for a long time with imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Like where you actually, like I've done a lot. I mean, if you listen to me, I've probably done a lot compared to most people. But it was actually then saying, should I shout about it? Do I feel like I'm good enough to actually stand out in front of people and actually go, you know what, actually, what I've done is pretty interesting. I've done some pretty cool stuff. And like part of me is always like, no, like you should shut up and just do, you know, because there's part of me is like when I finished wholesaling, it was like there was part of me that just wanted to, just go and get a job as a van driver.
Yeah.
If I'm honest, because I was like, just, the idea of like going in front of all these people and you'd stand in front of these boards of people who were talking about doing different roles, and you're like, I just kind of felt weird about it, to be honest. And shouting out about what you are and what you can do just always feels really like, I don't know, unmodest. I'm quite modest generally, and I felt like actually shouting about it was actually kind of anathema to how I am as a person. So actually getting people to do it organically is nice. Definitely.
And I think so it's interesting you saying about imposter syndrome, because I listen to you and this is a conversation I have so often. It's like, you don't see what I see. Like I've listened to your podcast and I think that you give so much. And I know we were chatting before we started recording, weren't we? And I was basically saying I was having a bit of an imposter syndrome moment here because I feel like not an outsider as such. But I know I give support, but I'm not entrenched in the industry like you. And I don't have that knowledge. And I was thinking, oh my God, I'm going on this podcast. And I'm a bit nervous, I'll be honest, because you have so much knowledge. But I think you capture it really well in this podcast, that you're here, you've got this knowledge and you want to share it because you want to help people. And you've done this podcast and, we're here in the studio and it's awesome. And you're going all in on it, aren't you? But you're doing it because you want to help people.
Yeah.
And I think like when you have it, if you are having, and I don't imagine that you do have like these wobbles or anything, but if you were having, an imposter syndrome moment where you're thinking, you feel, you know what I mean? Like you've done it with the intention that you really want to help people, and you're sharing, all you're doing is sharing your experience. And that's mega for people who are new to the industry, like, because you've been doing this for, 30 odd years, haven't you?
Yeah.
You're so entrenched and you've got so much experience that people just don't even know. And just by you talking about what you do, things that you just assume that everybody knows, they don't. And they're getting real value from what you're doing. So
I definitely have wobbles.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely have. I mean, I think like maybe I come across very confident, and I think like that's part of my salesman mentality.
Yeah.
Is like if you're a good salesperson, you're always sort of clicking with confidence all the time. But actually, like I massively have wobbles.
Yeah.
And like massively like suffer from self-doubt occasionally. It's just doing the thing is the thing that actually gets me through it, to be honest. Because I think it is like fairly unnatural to sort of put yourself and say, look, I know I've been doing this for like my whole life. Mm-hmm. I know a hell of a lot about what I'm talking about, but I don't think about the stuff I know. I think about the stuff I don't know all the time. So I'm always like, well, I don't know as much about fish as I should. No, my knowledge on cat is nowhere near as good as my knowledge on dog, wild bird, reptile.
Yeah.
But that's kind of where my mind goes. So if I'm sitting in front of talking to somebody about cats, then there's going to be stuff that I don't know as well, because cat isn't as big in the pet food industry, like pet specialist, as let's say other animals.